Welcome to another Medieval Total War 2 tips and tricks video. In this video we're going to be talking about some problems with Medieval Total War 2 and what you can do about them. So we're going to discuss 5 topics. The first one is the Axemen problem, then the problem of not getting upgrades, then also assaulting walls, which is basically a pathfinding problem, and then diplomacy problems, and then lastly the irritating thing where you keep being told you've got a chance of success that doesn't materialize. So the first thing we're going to talk about is Axemen. If you read the Total War forums, they say that Axemen don't work properly because the animation doesn't show properly on the screen. So I'll show you a couple of videos here and basically let you decide for yourself. I actually have no problems at all with Axemen, and they tend to be quite good troops. So the main thing about them is that they're all-round troops. They're not specifically good at anything, and the best thing about them though is they have a armor piercing capability, which is useful against all kinds of things, and quite often they also have a cavalry bonus. So this makes them useful in all types of situations. So the first video I've got is one of some ordinary woodsmen attacking attacking spear militia, and then the next one is of Galaglaich, the Irish heavy infantry, attacking a general's bodyguard and chopping it to bits. There definitely seems to be no problem here, and in fact, you know, I once played a Danish campaign just because the Viking troops are so good to begin with, because of all these capabilities of Axemen. Problem number 2 is probably something you may not be aware of, and that is that when you give troops an upgrade, they don't get it. This happens with specific types of upgrades, usually the experience type. So for instance, with a drill square you get a experience increase of 1 for spear militia, and for guild type buildings like the Horse Breeders Guild you get upgrades for cavalry, and then for the tourney field you get upgrades for knights. I've even read people say that the tourney field isn't worth getting. I'm really thinking that the reason is this reason, that what happens is if you reload the game after doing the upgrade, then you don't get the upgrade on the following turn. So what you have to do with these types of upgrades is it's okay to save the game, but if you save the game then reload it before the end of the turn, you have to redo all of these upgrades. So basically leave all these types of upgrades right to the end of the turn, do them all then, go straight into the next turn, and they will work. Problem number 3 is with pathfinding when you're assaulting city walls. This is basically one where the troops just don't go where you want them to go. They can't work out how to get off the walls or get onto them properly. Medieval Total War is one of the most fantastic games ever, and they put so much into it that, well, it's not surprising that there are a few glitches, and this is a big glitch though, because it can cause you real problems when you're trying to get into a city. So what you basically have to do is not be too ambitious with your troops when trying to get over walls. You have to tell them to only go short distances, and basically that means tell them to get on the wall, wait till they finish getting on top of it before you tell them to get off it, and then when you tell them to get off it, tell them only to go to the bottom of the wall, or the nearest exit or something like that, or use shift clicking to tell them to go in a sequence of locations. Don't expect them to find their way. For instance, if they're on top of the wall, don't expect them to find the way to the top, to the town plaza, or the castle centre. They may not make it. And the other problem is that when they do this, as you'll see in some of these pictures, that some of the troops go one place and other troops go in another, and the unit can actually get split up, and bits can get left behind. So you have to be very careful about what you tell them to do. In one of these videos, you can actually see after the gate opens, they give up trying to walk along the wall, and they go back down outside and walk along the outside again. In another of these videos, you can see that half of the troops climbing the wall don't even get near the ladder. So you have to keep an eye on them very closely and keep telling them to climb to the top of the wall, and then when they get to the top of the wall, if they're fighting, you have to keep pushing them to forwards to the location you want them to go to. Basically, you have to keep a very close eye on these troops when they're going over walls, and keep giving them lots of instructions for very small distances. Keep pushing them forwards, and eventually you'll be fine. The fourth problem I'd like to mention is with diplomacy. Diplomacy is certainly one of the most undeveloped parts of the game, but it can give you huge benefits. You can make lots of money out of selling map information, for instance. But having another nation as an ally, doesn't seem to really have much benefit at all. Perhaps it has it might have a trade value, but there's no guarantee that they will ever help you in any sort of a way. The only advantage it happens is that if you happen to accidentally, more or less, be in the same battle with an ally, then they will support you in that battle. They will fight with you. That is the only advantage of being an ally. They sometimes will give you some money, but it's not very rare. And the other thing is that if they're an ally, that doesn't even stop them from attacking you. They can, and looking at how happy they are with your status, that doesn't help either. It is an indication, generally speaking, that if your relations are very bad, that they are likely to attack you, but they can attack you whatever the status. I've also done a previous video on this about the excommunication, so it's just have a look at it and find out how to get a peace treaty and how to manipulate the status of the other nations by selling them land at a price that can't be afforded. The last irritation with the game I'd like to mention is the business with agents, such as merchants and spies, where the game will say that you have a certain chance of success when you check out the opportunity to do something with them, and the success possibility might be something like 90%, but no matter how many times you do it, it doesn't succeed. The reason for this is the success is actually fixed and cannot be changed. So it doesn't matter what the percentage is. If you do nothing to try and change the situation, it will always fail. So there is a way around it, though, fortunately, and that's very simple. All you have to do is save the game, then try it. Then if it fails, just reload the game. And you can quick save it. It'll do. So quick save it. Try. Doesn't work. Quick load the game, and then save the game. So saving the game resets the counter or whatever it is that decides that you're going to succeed. So all you have to do is save the game, then do it again. And if you fail, reload the game, save it, and then do it again. Eventually, no matter how low the percentage, it will succeed. But this method sometimes, it seems, doesn't work all the time, but most of the time. Other times, another way you can get around it is one thing that does seem to reset the counter is to go and do another action that is very risky. Or for instance, getting another agent to do something somewhere else, or doing an attack, something like, or assassination, or something like that. That is equally risky. That seems to reset it. But basically, all you have to do is just save the game, and that will reset it. So save it, attempt to do it. If it fails, reload the game, save it, then try again, and eventually you'll succeed. Okay, so that's it for now. Thanks very much for watching. I hope it's been a help to you, and enjoy playing Medieval Total War 2. I think it's a terrific game.